In the United States, someone has had a stroke every 40 seconds, and someone dies from a stroke every 3 minutes and 14 seconds. I'm a stroke survivor. Between April and May of this year, I had both an hemorrhagic stroke and an ischemic stroke. A hemorrhagic stroke involves bleeding in the brain, while an ischemic stroke is a blockage of blood to the brain. My doctors explained to me that my chronic and inconsistently treated high blood pressure was likely the cause. When I had these strokes, I was at a bit of a crossroads in my life. Over the past few years, I had left my job and was looking for a new direction. I moved to Kentucky to be with my friend John on his farm. One of the things I was working there while I was at the farm was an app that combined horse racing handicapping with AI. I'm still working on that app, but it has been delayed by the stroke. John and I were notified of some hay for the livestock, and as we were picking up 200-pound bales of hay, I began to feel dizzy. I told John I didn't feel well and I couldn't feel my right side. And he told me he thought I was having a stroke and immediately called 911. He saved my life. I was very lucky to have stroke care so quickly. I was at the hospital within 16 minutes. I was fortunate that the ambulance was coming back from another call. Prior to relocating to Kentucky, I was searching for some guidance in my faith. And as I awoke from these strokes, I felt even more empowered to speak of my faith and how I need Jesus in my life. I didn't ask why me. Rather, I took it upon me as a sign it would be a guiding point in my life. I felt more than ever that my faith was going to get me through it, and God blessed me with children, and two of them amazingly, as well as my wonderful fiance, Nikki, rushed to my side in my time of need. I was fortunate enough to have lifelong friends who also reached out to me. These friendships have helped strengthen me and hold me together as my recovery has taken place. So, why am I here to speak to you today? I want to spread the word about the importance of stroke prevention. And when your doctor or a healthcare professional diagnoses you with a condition, take it seriously. For example, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, also known as hypertension, around the age of 40. I was able to manage it with medication and self-checking until about the age of 50. For roughly 6 years, though, I neglected the medication and did not take care of myself as I should have. This led to my stroke. Other causes of stroke include high cholesterol, atrial fibrillation, and lifestyle factors such as smoking, heavy alcohol use, drug use, poor diet, or the lack of physical activity. I also want to spread the word about how strokes impact your life. A stroke isn't a one size fits all. In other words, there are gray areas, and the severity of the stroke will vary from person to person. So many may have what they call a mini stroke, wherein they are briefly afflicted and cannot resume life as normal. While others, like me, will have a hemorrhagic stroke or an ischemic stroke, and life is changed indefinitely. I have seen various people who have been afflicted by differences such as unable to walk or unable to talk clearly. Therefore, the recovery process and timeline looks different for everyone. My body and my life have been changed, affected in both visible and invisible ways. The visible way of phase are obvious. The first thing you might see is my wheelchair. I cannot walk independently. The right side of my body is weak due to hemiparesis, and thus I have difficulty moving my right arm and leg. Many will say that my speech is sort of back to normal, but it is not. For a long time, I would speak quite rapidly, and my previous speech was very clear and direct. I speak slower and more deliberately now. My inner dialogue has also slowed down. I must be careful because what I can say can be misconstrued, and it is misconstrued quite often. There are also invisible effects of my stroke, things people could not see right away. My short-term memory has been significantly impacted. Because of this, I carry with me a real apprehension of putting myself in situations where I may hurt my head or other parts of my body. Unless something is deeply interesting to me, I also will not probably remember it within a day or a week later, significantly when it comes to remembering names. So if I meet you today, don't take it personally that I don't remember your name, but I will remember meeting you and hearing your story. Throughout my experiences in rehab, I've encountered many people who have had traumatic brain injuries, or TBIs, as well as those who have had strokes like myself. TBIs are acquired through various means, such as car accidents, falls, and acts of violence. However, the rehabilitation process for a TBI and a stroke are very parallel. I like to paint a picture of what daily life looks like in rehab for a TBI and stroke victim. As you wake up each day, you are met with various challenges. Depending upon the severity of your physical impairments, you will likely be stuck in bed until a nurse's aide is available to help you into your wheelchair. You will likely have to be helped into the bathroom while your breakfast is bred to you and showering is something that you have to wait for. Life as you knew it has changed. You are doing everything in your power to get it back. And that means hours of intensive therapy each day. We have a team of therapists who create specific therapy plans cater to each individual specific needs. I'm focusing on strengthening my legs and the core of my walk. In occupational therapy, I am focusing on strengthening my arms and my upper body to cope with the rigors of life. In speech therapy, I'm strengthening my brain and my short-term memory and training my brain to think more linear and not to be so scattered. As I've gone through the rehab, I have learned a lot of important life lessons. One being to make every second count as you are there. Listen to your therapist and what they're teaching you, as well as put the time in and the work. It will lead you to great success. It has become painstakingly true to me that there is not enough rehab for most people. I am constantly asking, what's next? How can I learn from each situation? And more than just what can happen, it's what can happen and what effect will I put in the ability to find strength in people around me. With each stage, I've tried to bond in every person I have come across. I've encountered many nurses, therapists, staff members, and residents who have guided me along the way. What leads me to this last lesson that I've learned is you'll get a lot further in rehab by just being nice. Before my stroke, I had a lot of anger in my life. I had been a very angry person. And coming into this situation, I could have been angrier. I had no self-pity. Instead, I chose not to let this anger take over my rehabilitation process. I have been to 3 different rehab facilities, and every one of these people wanted to help me. I needed them to help me. And when I came to with a good attitude, I found that it got me a lot further and allowed me to focus on putting in positive work, which has led me to more success. If you waste your time in rehab, you will be angrier and you won't get anything out of rehab. While these lessons have largely applied to my rehab process, it's something that I will take with me and live by for the rest of my life. I've enjoyed speaking to you today, and thank you for your time and the space to be here.